Wicked. For Good is one of the most anticipated movies of the year, and for good reason. Last year's release of Wicked became one of the biggest cultural touchstones of the year, making over $755 million worldwide at the box office and earning an astounding 10 nominations at the 2025 Academy Awards. While Wicked managed to remain fairly faithful to the original Broadway musical, it did make a few changes to adapt the story to the medium of film, and now that For Good's trailer has been released, it seems that the sequel will follow suit. As the musical has always been one of the most popular Broadway productions, the story is fairly well known to people who have even a little bit of musical knowledge, but it is still new territory for those less familiar with Broadway. As both Wicked movies were filmed at the same time, they were made with the same mindset, so while For Good will likely remain a fairly close adaptation of Act 2 of the musical, there are undoubtedly going to be a number of big changes. In the original musical, the biggest change between Acts 1 and 2 of Wicked was how little Elphaba and Glinda actually interacted, as they remained on opposite sides of the conflict for the rest of the story. The majority of Act 1 was obviously focused on developing their close bond, which necessitated sharing almost every scene. However, as Wicked Act 2 revolved around the wider story being told about the world of Oz, they were apart for the majority of the runtime, only briefly reconnecting for a few scenes. While the overarching story of Wicked, For Good will undoubtedly be the same as the musical, where the two former friends have to fight against each other in the escalating conflict in Oz, the film's recent trailer hinted that there will be more moments where Elphaba and Glinda share the screen, outside the big ones present in the musical. While those big moments, including the inevitable final confrontation, will certainly be included as the most important parts of the movie, a number of smaller scenes reuniting the characters seem inevitable. Whether this scene is actually happening or is just a metaphorical representation of their friendship is unknown, but it being real or not doesn't make all that much of a difference, as it is still a new moment between the two characters. The biggest moment in the trailer that looks like a brand new scene comes as the pair sit on a broomstick that has been transformed into a swinging bench of some kind. The two seem to just be sitting quietly, hand in hand, looking down at a room filled with pink light. Whether this scene is actually happening or is just a metaphorical representation of their friendship is unknown, but it being real or not doesn't make all that much of a difference, as it is still a new moment between the two characters. One of the main criticisms of the original Wicked musical was that the second act felt a bit disjointed, especially when compared to how focused the first was. The story has a lot of different plot lines occurring, and when the characters all individually split off from Shiz University, it can feel like it's too much for a single act that only runs for about an hour and 15 minutes. With For Good likely having a similar runtime to the first movie, there is much more time for Elphaba and Glinda to interact in the story. Seeing more moments of the two having a genuine love and affection for one another can also be much better contrasted with the moments where we see them as enemies.